Petter Solberg, welcome to Talking Loose.
The stress factor, I mean, unbelievable. Been sleeping in the workshop. I didn't have to do it, I was already world champion. If something goes against you, you want to prove the other way. When I was talking to Volkswagen, that's when I called Marcus Grönholm and asked him, if you want a team, you can take the Hyundai. So that's why Grönholm ended up with Hyundai. I had a doctor looking at it and saying, no, you're gone for a long time. It was not the answer I wanted. Boxu was the next race. 3 days after operation, ended up with the pole position.
Solberg takes the top qualifier spot. Absolutely fantastic.
The thing is very difficult to be the next generation. People think it's maybe easy, but it's very, very tricky. It's not enough to be good. You have to be very good.
Most famous for winning the World Rally Championship with Subaru, two-time World RX champion Petter Solberg's career is intrinsically linked with rallycross. In this episode of Talking Loose with me, Hal Ridge, Petter talks about his humble beginnings of getting into rallycross from the family farm in Norway to becoming a national champion, and how a win at Julius shaped his professional career. Speaking about his return to rallycross after his WRC career had drawn to a close, Petter reveals unheard before secrets about the build of his Citroen DS3 in 2013, and the development of both that car and the Volkswagen Polo that followed. He also talks about which manufacturers he was talking to about bringing into World RX, and his recovery from injury following that huge accident in Riga in 2017. Petter chats about son Oliver and his amazing performance on the Monte Carlo rally recently, how rallycross is today, and so much more. I hope you enjoy. Petter Solberg, welcome to Talking Loose. Thank you so much for joining us in this busy period. I'm sure you've got a lot on, especially on the back of your son Oliver having an amazing performance in Monte Carlo recently, Rally Sweden in just a few days as well. So thank you for taking the time.
Well, obviously, I'm just a father now. It's not he's not the son of me anymore. In one way that for the history, he had made his own name now. So yeah, but it's been incredible time. Under Monte Carlo rally and also after, for sure.
It doesn't feel like 10 minutes ago he was at Julius driving his junior cross car. Was it 2014? I think he won on the Friday night and there was all the TV around him. It doesn't feel like long ago at all.
No. We looked at the interview not so long time ago, and I think it was one of his first interviews in English. And great to see, that it comes back to the passion, energy, and how much you want things, and the thing is very difficult to be the next generation. People think it's maybe easy, but it's very, very tricky. It's not enough to be good. You have to be very good, and you have to be very self-motivated to do it, and you have some motivation that it's really good. But to be a part of something, even that time in Julius, that's not everything. It's all about what your motivation for winning is, and it's quite big difference.
And there's so much more to being a professional athlete now, even to when you started, I guess. All of the social media and all of the other obligations that come with being a top level driver now.
Well, we were busy enough with the PR and media, all around the world, for sure. We didn't have so much of the social media, but the thing is, social media is a very good thing for marketing and build up and give information, but it can also destroy you very, very quickly, to be honest with you. So
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's only the positive part of it, to be honest with you, because it's very big pressure, and then you have to have people actually working very hard with you to do it, and obviously we have good people, and that's very important.
So how is it watching on from the sidelines after such an amazing career yourself? What are the nerves like on the stop line there in Monte? Is it more nervous being outside of the car?
Definitely, it's much more tricky. I think in general, the pressure having, like the kid driving, luckily I've only won because it's more than enough. But obviously on Estonia, for example, when he won that race, that was also an incredible thing. But I was just you know, it was not so much about the result there. It was more about, having a clean, nice race. No pressure, enjoy, because he had 1.5 days testing. So, of course, I was not happy that he only got so small testing, because it was planned to be very good prepared and everything. But it didn't happen, so you just have to rethink. But here, the stressful part was maybe the first stage, always. After that, when you've done that, and you see if he's happy or confident and laughing and stuff, and you know that it's under control. But the worst part in Monte Carlo, even that was his second race with the Toyota, it was the Thursday. The conditions on Thursday, in the dark, with the fog, ice, snow, slush. And I know Oliver is very good to set up a car, and I think that was his key for having, an easy car to drive, different compared with all the other guys. But I think that was the key for everything. And taking that lead in Monte Carlo, I mean, it's crazy. I looked at the onboard, especially stage 2. I mean, you need some confidence about yourself and the car and the pace thoughts and everything together. So it's so many factors that should really work together. But I think, much more nervous outside compared with when I am not driving myself, to be honest with you. It's terrible.
And we'll this is about you, and we'll talk about you in a minute. But what a performance in Monte! I think Estonia was just an incredible weekend, of course. But Monte Carlo, with all of the variables, and to beat Sebastian Ogier in his back garden, are you still pinching yourself that this is real?
I'm not the only one. We know that Estonia that they did was like maybe top 3 in the world, in the WRC ever, and then Monte Carlo. I mean, it's maybe what people say is maybe the biggest story in history, about the performance. So I don't have to say it myself; everybody else say it. But 2 victories out of 2, and we talk about. It's not on the rallycross track here that you learn the track in short. This is a 4-day rally, day and night, and so many, variables. I mean, it's mad. I still can't believe it. Even Loeb, he sent a message to Oliver. I know you looked up to me before, but now I'm looking up to you. He wrote in a message to him, because this is crazy. So, we have a lot of good friends in the sport, in Formula 1 or NASCAR, Rally, IndyCar, everybody was all in, and a nice message from Ari Vatan to Oliver. And I think this makes, especially for people like us that have so huge passion to, first of all, perform, and get this type of result and the atmosphere around, it's quite a huge thing, and now these days you can measure everything on social media, from which countries and which ages and people, and it's been actually completely crazy. Even last year on Oliver's social media, I mean, it's like it's very huge for engagement,
Yeah. And looking ahead to Rally Sweden, just a few days' time, you've won the event before in your own career. Obviously, it was in a different area, but are you beyond the past of offering him advice, or how does that relationship work now? Do you just let him go and do his own thing?
No, he called me sometimes on the rally, like in Estonia. He called me, what should I do? Well, if you feel good, you go for it, He called me on the Monte Carlo rally, and I said, maybe back off a little bit to have a bigger margin, because this is Monte Carlo rally. It's not like, in a split second, it's over,
Yeah.
When you're driving in these lines with the slush on the side, I mean, you need a bigger margin than you maybe think, and you saw that when he went off the road there, and the interview after the stage, maybe I was driving slow, but maybe I should have gone even slower.
Yeah.
So, you have to reflect on everything. You have to evaluate and analyze your yourself personally, you know how it is. But for the chassis setup and good car to drive, I don't have to say anything anymore. He knows what he needs, and he don't follow anybody. He just follow what his feeling is. So on the advice side, you know, we are, and after he got a girlfriend now, you know, everything, the string is gone, you know, it's it's no father son now, you know, like before. And yeah, it's been lasting for a long time, and I enjoyed it. But it's nice to see her grown up and with the, you know, with the self control, pushing and fighting. You know, he's not afraid to have a discussion and fight with somebody either. You know, he's a tough man, to be honest with you.
Great. Let's have a chat about you and your career, and of course you're best known for your WRC career, but before that you were a rallycross driver. You won the Norwegian Championship 4 times in your category. Let's talk a little bit about that. How did you get into rallycross in the first instance there?
Well, we are talking about a very long story here now, Hal. You know, we have been driving on the farm, you know, since we were 5 years old, and didn't speak any English, working on the cars, were working on the farm with the plowing and all the pigs. We had 350 pigs, you know, we were digging shit, and, you know, we did everything. And living on the farm that time, it was very hard, you know, for my grandfather and my parents, and it was all in. And then interest for cars happened in 82 when my mother and father started autocross. And ended up that we went to these races, and obviously we tried football, and we did dancing, but football we were so bad, you know, and we never got the time to play because we didn't have any ball control at all, basically. So when we followed my parents for the autocross, it's you know, my father had very nice cars, because these was cheap cars, but he always made them nice. But we never had the result, and you can think, you know, it's almost embarrassing, you know, to go to these races and not have any results. You know, it's not even coming to the C final or D final, and then you have to pack up and go back home with no motivation. So that's where we ended, me and my brother, and we started to build all the cars. From I was 10, my brother was 12, and we did all the engines, all the cars. When I talk about engine, we did from scratch, yeah.
Wow.
Everything. We did all the porting in the heads, and we balanced crankshaft. We actually, at that time, we put the weight on the flywheel to get more traction, like a rallycross. When I came into rallycross in the European Championship or World Champion, everybody had very heavy flywheel,
Yeah.
like we had early days, but we went opposite, basically, you know. But anyway, so that's when they started, and they start to win. My mother and father, they had 500 trophies each. Won almost every weekend. Everything went fantastic, and then my brother wanted to drive autocross. He got Norwegian champion in autocross. And then he wanted to try something else, and then he started rallycross and hill climb with a Ford Escort Mark II. And then, of course, I was the mechanic to follow him. But when he started, you know, my parents stopped because, first of all, they didn't have any time to work on the cars themselves because we did everything. Okay, we did for many people. We made cars for all the uncle, aunts, and driving teacher that we had to take the license, you know. And that time, I just have to tell some stories because we never took money to work on cars for people. We took chocolate and Coca-Cola, basically. So we got a pallet, you know, if you made a car or engine, they came with like a pallet of chocolate or Coca-Cola. So we had a very unhealthy lifestyle when we were in the workshop. But when this rallying And rallycross started with my brother, you know. Of course, he was a very good driver, and that's when he started, you know, it's just built up. He started rallycross, then I did 2 races of autocross the day I was 18. I got second and first place, and then I went up to rallycross and hill climb after that, because I bought his Escort with 0 money. So I went to the bank, you know, and when I was 18 tomorrow, I think it was 6,000 euro to buy his car that time, and it was a massive amount of money, and that because he went up a bigger class with the Volvo. We actually built that car in the pig house from scratch, everything, with the radiator in the back, under the floor, with the engine, super lightweight, move wheelbase. Yeah, we had only one friend with us who helped to build for us, who did the TIG welding with the tubes through the car back to the radiator. So that's what we did every single night to build this car, and the car was fast, you know. My brother got Norwegian champion, hill climb champion, Nordic champion, and then I bought that car after. And of course, it broke straight away when I took it over. I have to tell you a good story about that, because this was in Momarken, in my hometown. Town was a Norwegian championship with this gearbox broke in the first heat, and of course, we didn't have any spare gearbox. We couldn't fix it. Big disaster, basically, you know. And then my father was there, and a friend of mine was on the fuel station up opposite on the other side of the road, and it came a Volvo 240. You know, we had a Getrack gearbox that time, you know, and the Volvo standing on the other side, and my friend bought the car because I didn't have any money. So my friend bought the car, drove it back into service. This was between first and second heat. Yeah, we rolled over the car on the side, took out the gearbox, you know, very original, everything, put it into my car, and I ended up in the I-final and win the race. And the thing is, after that, you know, he earned money on the car. So he sold it for higher price without the gearbox. So it's so many of these crazy stories that is like not giving up at all, and finding a solution or doing things by yourself, because we didn't have any people who helped us. We have self-learned with everything we've done. So and then, you know, the career started for me, my brother, continuing, you know, step by step up. You know, both of us won all the championship many times in hill climb and rallycross, and then my brother went into the European Championship, and I was a mechanic there. We were sleeping in the trailer. We didn't have any money. He didn't actually have the money to do it. So when we went to the races, we parked the trailer with the car at the harbor where the boat is going, and we just waited for somebody to have a hook, you know, to put it on the car or the bus to follow to the races, basically. Yeah? So we never had any car ourselves to transport anything at all. No money, but the thing is, we did everything ourselves, so you always find solutions. And on the races, we slept in the trailer. So you have to open the back. It was no door or anything. So when we finished work, we opened the cabinet. We went in, slept on each side of the. It was very cold sometimes, unbelievable. But we were sleeping close to each other, underneath the tires, so the gravel was hit, you know, in the face, you know, when we were turning around. And in the morning, I remember many times Gunde Svan, you know, the cross-country guy, because we couldn't see any time, or it was so dark in there. So he woke up us up every morning out of the trailer Honestly, me and my brother, we have a very special history of of things in this rallycross hill climb part. To be honest with you, it's I know it's been tough for many people, but it's mad, the whole thing. But everything we had result, I won 19 out of 20 world races in the season, and so of course we had the car. It's very interesting to think back on, because even that time we made car super lightweight, everything.
Yeah.
We have stainless steel exhaust, so we have a special sound. We go thinner exhaust, wheelbase, low friction. You can blow on the car and it was moving basically. And I was the first one with the rear wing also. It was the F3 front wing that I cut it, put it on the back for my second year. And we didn't know anything about the aerodynamic that time. But obviously, when you hit the gravel and you go in, yeah, for sure it helped. And even that time we had a very soft car, just to let you know.
I'm sure.
Weight distribution, friction, and have everything super lightweight of everything you can. This is the 3 pillars that you have to do. It doesn't matter what car you do. This is the key.
And I'm sure that played a big part in developing your supercars later. So what happened with your transition to rally? Was it a conscious decision that you would leave rallycross and go rallying? Was it organic that you did a few rallies and then started doing more of that? What happened in that phase?
The thing is, I had, when I won everything, was I don't know if you remember, I was a guest class in Julius with the Volvo.
Yeah.
Were you there that time?
No, before me that would have been.
Yeah. That's where my name started, First time my name came in the newspaper. So if you take my lap times, that time with the Volvo, that time Division 2 was like the biggest class.
Yeah.
And Division 1 was the second class. So with my lap times and everything, I had the fastest lap time in Division 1. So I would have been pole position with the four-wheel drives. And in the biggest Martin Skanke class, I was the third fastest. So I would have been on third position with the Volvo 240. And I beaten all my competitors, with over half a lap that time. And you have to remember that class was very hard that time. You had Bermigrud, you had Tommy Rusta, everybody was there.
Yeah.
So that's where everything, basically my name grew just because of the guest class. And of course, sometimes it's big thing to be on big events to show your performance, and people see driving style or whatever, So it's basically there everything started. And then in 96, then I got offered to do the Renault Spider Cup. The before the Formula 1 races.
Yeah.
So I was second fastest on the test, so I got the contract there. I got a chance to be in teammate with Martin Skanke in the RS200. So when you win something else, you need to find a direction to do something. And then I want to try rally, because that's what my brother started. So I want to test. So this was on a Wednesday that I get one of my sponsor, to help me to buy the car. And I flew up to Umeå. This was on a Wednesday. Picked up a Volvo 240, original, with roll cage and everything. It was like a big class, it was 25 cars in the championship. To understand, what rallying was, well, obviously I didn't have enough money to even buy that car. So, I couldn't do anything else,
Yeah.
And I drove back from Umeå with 5 rally tires, I drove the car in their full rally spec with rally tires on the road section. I had 5 punctures on the way. And since it was Swedish number plates, I needed my brother's wife to meet me at the border to drive it over, because she was Swedish. Came back on a Friday. The race was on Saturday, and there was no power steering on it. So I went to get the power steering, put it on the power steering, was finished 7 o'clock in the morning with the car, with everything, alignment and get it ready. And my brother's wife said that she could read pace notes. Oh, fantastic, because I don't know what pace notes is anyway, And then we came to the first stage and came to the first corner. She threw the pace notes in the back because she was not good and she was nervous. So I drove without pace notes. I came in second place out of 25 cars, my first race. And then I understand, bloody hell, I'm pretty good at this, Because everybody told me that, Petter, you will not have a chance to do rallying. It's so big difference compared with rallycross. And more people told me this, Berger Gundersen and everybody, I got so motivated. And that time I had ADHD, so nothing stopped me anyway, It was really all in on everything I did, 110%, like my company is called. And this had been the motivation the whole time, that everything is possible. And you have to believe that nobody actually really want to help you before you can make the friendship and take care of people around you, who is the key. And if you get the sponsor, well, 500 euro that we worked on that time, or 200 euro, or pay for tires or fuel, because I didn't want money. Because when I got sponsors, I wanted them to pay for my tires, because then I didn't have to pay the tax on the tires, basically, So I gained 26% on everything of that people paid for me instead of taking money.
Yeah.
So it's so many, it's so many things that I could talk for days with you, Hal, to be honest with you. So that's when I got hooked to the rally. And then I went to the bank and borrowed more money of a salary of 12,000 euro I had to buy my brother's Celica, because he got a new one. That's when I had a big accident in Hamar, and everybody told me it was over. But of course, it was not over, New motivation. So, yeah. So
your rally career took off, and you had an incredible time with Ford and Subaru. How in touch did you keep with Rallycross? I remember you coming to Momarken a couple of times for European events. You were in Julius. There was a rumor, I think Henning started at some point when Henning came back to Supercar with an OMSE Fiesta, that you were looking at coming back with maybe a Subaru build or something. How possible was it that you might return when you were still a professional rally driver?
No chance. Now, earlier, when I have a chance in rallying, and you got it to be good and things worked, it's no chance, Rallying is a big sport. It's incredible, and so much driving you can do. Again, rallycross is a very exciting sport, arena sport. I'm just very, very sad to see that it's a sport that should have been taking off properly, like we had ongoing, basically. It could have been reaching to the roof. So
let's talk about where Rallycross is at the moment in a minute. So you've done the Subaru thing in WRC, won the world title in 2003. You've set up your own team and run Citroens for a few years. Then that year with M Sport and Ford in 2012. What was the catalyst then to think that you might come back to Rallycross? Obviously, IMG were taking over the commercial rights, so you were aware of that. But talk a little bit about why Rallycross became attractive to you again, when I know you had other opportunities, didn't you? There was a WTCC, Le Mans, all these things going on as well.
Le Mans, LMP1, I did the test there, so I got the offer there to do that. Because I was angry on rallying. The story behind it, I can't tell you. Because I did this to win, you know. And I'm still the only one who got, you know, a World Championship medal in a private team in rallying, you know. I got third, but I should have been much better, to be honest with you. But you can get stopped in some areas because of different reasons that I was not allowed to, like, do it. And then you lose the motivation for, you know, if you can't win, you know, then you have to do something else. So I got was a big mess in the background. Nobody knows about anything about this, but it's mad. So then I want to try to build up Rallycross, get it up to a level again, because that was the roots, you know, more affordable, because to do a World Championship in rallying, yeah, I mean, it's mad, you know. So I think this Rallycross part was the way to go. So of course, you know, you have to work quite a lot in the background, you know. Who's going to be the promoter? There was 2 promoters working on each side. I have got it, and the other guy said they got it, and it was big chaos. You have no idea until I found out which direction who actually got it, and that's when, you know, we have to wanted to get it up to a World Championship, because if you're going to get in Loeb or Grönholm or Kemplock or whatever drivers that I tried to put into the sport, it needs to be a World Championship. Without that, you will not get these guys. So that was the whole key why I started, that it's going to be a World Championship. And then we had good contact with Loeb and Ken and, you know, all these drivers, and then we got extra in, you know, it's a lot of things was going on. So when you get all these names in, it's a hard competition, because if you win something too easily, you can't be there. Because if you're a professional driver, you need hard competition. You need good names to get the value up, that you are fighting with the best ones, basically. And that's what we got. You know, we got a lot of good drivers in, proper media, got some new countries in. I mean, Rallycross was booming properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the dream of getting the Rallycross actually what it deserves, we were so happy, everyone, you know. And so I think the passion for Rallycross has always been there, you know. But if you have been in a rally car, yeah, it's a different thing. But it's not something you can, rallying is not something you can do when you get very old or much older. You need to be in the peak area. If not, you go also Dakar, like Carlo Sainz, for example. But yeah.
So you've made the decision to come to Rallycross. Obviously, you've run your own team before. You know you can put your team together to do that. I've got an idea what your plan was, but talk a little bit about where you went from there. You've decided to come in. How did you then get from that idea to being at the first race at Lynn Hill in 2013?
Are we gonna really talk about?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, it was a very short time, but I had good time before Christmas, because a certain driver or a team want to, you know, I could buy the car from them to get in earlier, because I didn't have time to build the car and get ready anyway, you know. I'm sure you know a little bit about the story, but
yeah, I think it's been publicised elsewhere. You were talking with Kenneth Hansen, weren't you, about having a DS3 from his team?
Yeah. So before Christmas, everything was done. The car was gonna come up and everything. I bought the car, and they came with flowers and thank you, Petter, and blah, blah, blah. And then obviously what's happened after, you can't use different dampers. You can't do anything with the engine. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I said, I want to use my own dampers. No, you can't do that. Okay, but so it was a little bit similar again, you're gonna you're buying the car, but you can't do what you want. So I got very disappointed, and then of course, this happened at Christmas time when everything was planned to get ready over here in New Year to get ready for the season. But so, yeah, no chance that somebody can control if my engine or dampers or whatever I do with the car, So that's it. It got a really big stress factor. I was very disappointed because I thought everybody, they should be happy that we come in and try to make a good competition and a good championship. So, yeah, destroyed a lot of my feelings, to be honest with you. Very disappointed. Pernilla also, and because it was agreed. And then, well, what do you do? I went to France and I got some cars from the factory, Pro cars, start to build it, but the time was very, very short. Didn't sleep for, I don't know, the whole team and the people to be motivated. We were sleeping in the workshop every day, every night. I didn't have to do it. I was already world champion. I had a good life. Everything was good. But this sort of motivation to do it was so motivating, Again, that something goes against you, you want to prove the other way. And now, of course, I had the XR there, I had the C4, I have, a lot of the rally cars. So we did the ferro arm, we did the geometry. I took the best out of the cars I liked, made it together, and the car was very fast. Really good fun to drive. I mean, a lot of technical problems, issues, and that's normal when you have this type of short time. But I made for maximum performance first, and then fine tuned to make it stronger after, basically. And the stress factor, I mean, unbelievable. It's so much around it. When we were not sleeping for 3 nights, it looked like zombies, all of us. Car was not even finished when it came to Lyden Hill,
Yeah.
And the guy was sleeping under the car, inside the car, and of course I did some special things who made it even more difficult. It was not actually loud, and because the gearbox mounting was 180 kilo, And the Carl Heinz was so that this is not a load, and I tried to say it's connected to the gearbox and rules, and yeah, everything was in tungsten. You have to remember, hidden in with lead, made gear. It was extreme. But for weight distribution and center of gravity and inertia, this was fantastic, because I made my cars in 3 pieces. Yeah, lightweight front end, very heavy center, and very lightweight rear end. And even I tested prop shaft, I made 3-4 different prop shafts because I wanted light as possible. Because when you know what it's doing, it makes a hell of a difference,
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you jump, it broke. So then I went up a step and lost some performance. So I needed to find another balance to keep the low weight, but in a different way. Yeah, so,
And you were doing all of that while racing in 2013, and the result, you had a couple of podiums, didn't you? But the speed was there, but the reliability and the results just weren't really because of this evolution.
That's the part of the game, It's everything. If I got the car from Hudson, I could have done all these things from a clean chassis. I was ready, But from fully designed with uprights, gearbox, weight distribution, lightweight, panels, car. I mean, we did everything. So we didn't buy anything, finished basically,
So how quickly in that year did you decide that you would build a new car for 14 to, I guess, to refine all of these elements you've been working on?
Yeah, that was the thing. It's easy to just, to build a new one, modification, the small details, and improve from it. And plan was to have like a 2-car team and stuff like that, because I never won the team championship. So, but still today, from the cars, the first car was the best car to drive.
Okay.
The first car was better than the second car. Some was because of regulation and stuff like that, because the technical regulation, when it was European Championship, the window was like this,
Wide open.
When I got the World Championship, it got like this. It was so to get a really good fun car to drive and stuff, the regulation should have been more closer to the first car, because it was just much easier and good. Not easy, the speed was both, but a good fun car to drive.
Yeah.
That was the first one, yeah.
And very different to the later cars. I know you were using a Godfrey engine initially, weren't you? There was a more lag than there was later. The cars evolved so much in that period, didn't they, between 13 and 17, 18 at the peak of World RX?
Yeah, I think 14, 15 was like the best, I still think today that, we know for sure that the Citroen is still faster than the Polo. A straight line acceleration from 0 to 200, or from a slow corner up to 200 kilometers. We know that the Citroen is still faster, because the Citroen we had, we took it. This is also a cool story, because when I was planning to actually run Hyundai, but I didn't win as much as I wanted to do, at the same time, when I was talking to Volkswagen, that's when I called Marcus Grönholm and asked him, if you want to team or build up something, you can take to Hyundai. I know this is the deal, but maybe you can deal yourself with it, So that's why Grönholm ended up with Hyundai when I called him to get him in. And then I went with Volkswagen because they want to win like I did. We didn't have so much budget as I hoped to do it, but it was okay. I put it in all my stuff also into this project, so it was a win-win. And then we took the car straight from Argentina to Belgium. Volkswagen came with their car that they have built up. They were so far behind my car. I mean, it was good. First of all, they were laughing at my car because it came straight from Argentina. It was dirty shit. It was hanging and everything. But from 0 to 100 at the start, they were so far, lap time so far behind. So it was, big crisis meeting after that day. So they ended up, we just took the Citroen down to Volkswagen and copy most of it from the Citroen over to the Polo. From brakes to clutch to weight distribution for drivability, launch system. So that's when everything started. We just copied the Citroen and then we went on. Proudest for Volkswagen was to keep it in the front, who is very complicated in rallycross. So not happy about that, but this was the thing they wanted. So yeah, in some sort of way it worked, but
how was that from a driving perspective? Obviously, technically, it's difficult anyway with the heat management, but you also can't really afford to fill up the front of the car with mud and all of those issues of driving in traffic. How hard was that from a driver's perspective, the front cooling?
Shit. Really difficult. But also, that was the first time, Johan also tried my car. And he said it's the easiest car he had been driven. It was the most car he had been driven. And because everybody said, Petter's car looks a little bit difficult to drive, but that's the thing. It's so easy to drive. And this is the key all the time. Always easy car to drive. Linear throttle. Clutch I made myself also with Alcon. I tried every clutch. I didn't like any of them, and then with Alcon we made it. I was the first one with the thin brake disc, you remember? I developed a thin brake disc. Yeah, I had 2 different turbos for different tracks until I made the turbo that had both things, basically, you know. I had different intercoolers for different races, for light and for weight. So when it was cold, I used thinner and lighter, and then, yeah.
You must. You're obviously enjoy so much the technical side and the development. You must really have got a lot out of having spent those 3 years running your own team and doing all of that yourself within your own team, working with Volkswagen at the start of 17 when you were doing that back-to-back testing with your car and the WRC car and the Rallycross car. You must have really enjoyed that process to get the Rallycross car, the Polo going.
You know, this is the passion. You have to remember, I had my team and mechanics and people, you know. We didn't have engineer in our team, you have to remember. So it was just us together. My team was incredible. Still the best friends, you know. And I think they are ready whatever project I come up with in the future. So, but you need these key people, machine people who understand the philosophy, who understand the dream and the end goal that we were going through together. And without these guys with the same passion, same drive, you know, it's impossible. So that's why I always took care of them, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So they're healthy, you know, they're happy. A coffee machine that took many cups, so you can have coffee very quickly. So everything was timed, you know, to gain time, basically, all the time. So a fantastic era, to be honest with you, of many things. It was tough, it was hard, but the end goal to do it, win the championship together with the hard work we have put it in, it's very satisfying, especially the first victory, when we won in Portugal there, you know, it was like
How
was perfect.
How much of that was relief that finally all of your collective effort within the team had come good and you managed to solve all these issues from the previous year?
We knew we should do it, no problem. But you know, you need all the details to be right, you know. And when you have the people that, like I said, with the same motivation, it's the late nights, sleeping in the bed or the sofa or the floor, and you know, this memories. I mean, it's quite strong. So coming from a world champion in rallying and then into this type of lifestyle was very different, and that's why I moved from Monaco when I started the rally team to move back to where the team base was, basically. You know, so you know, you have to sacrifice. You have to do all in if you're going to do something. It's not enough to do it halfway. All in, or you leave it.
And that 2014 season, there was a few dips, wasn't there? I think that Finland crash in Kouvola, where famously the guys had started to repair the car and there wasn't enough time, and you threw the umbrella on the ground. But apart from that, there was more highs than lows, wasn't there? 3 wins in the middle of the year, and you wrapped the title up quite early. I think it was 3 rounds from the end. So
yeah, I think, you know, it's rallycross. Things can happen. It's always going to be a fight, but of course, it's a lot of politics in the background. You know, not everybody wants to do well, and you know, and but the thing is, you know, it's a hobby for many people to follow others, to put in protest and play the game and stuff like that. We never did that. We were there to drive, fast as possible with the hardest competition you can get with everyone, and that's it, you know. People have different mentality, but this is the part of the sport when you're doing so close racing. You know, you will end up having fight and meeting assholes and stuff like that, you know. So it's a part of the game. I'm not afraid to fight anyway, so don't worry. So
During that period, the DS3 era of your rallycross career, the competition definitely increased, didn't it? It was quite close at the beginning and got tougher and tougher. How hard was it to defend the title in 15 on the back of winning your second world title in 14?
you know, this is how the sport is. You know, you start with something and people changing philosophy on the way, and you know, rallycross was quite big freedom to what you can do with the car that I really liked, you know, that you can do changes in the mid-season. It's not so homologated, you know, like it is, but that these times are gone, to be honest with you, you know, because of the cost and everything. You need to have it under control. But you know, challenge. I should maybe have won maybe one more if it wasn't for Argentina. When somebody went into my side in a 90 left with a 90 kilometers per hour and pulled me straight off, you know. I just needed fourth place, but that was, you know, it's the part of the game, you know, and then you have Ekström, who, you know, he's very clever and playing the game also, you know, so it's, you know, he's a more politician, you know, and than anything.
Who were your toughest rivals in that era? There was a lot of quick drivers, but like you say, I think Johan and Matthias maybe are two people that think a lot around the game. There's people who are wildly fast as well. Who was the stiffest competition?
No, I think in general, yeah, that's why we try to get, you know, when we evaluate the drivers, you know, and Johan had the best place, you know, that time as the third place, but he was not so good tactical with the car and understanding this, but he did very seldom, he did mistakes and stuff like that. So, you know, of course I saw potential in him when we were going to start a team. We looked at also back crew, but too risky, you know. With things you need consistency to win the championship. So for sure, that time, you know, if you talk about earlier time, you know, you had Bakker, you had Timur, and then you had Hansen, and then of course Ekström came in, and you know, so it's like everything, you know, coming new people, new philosophies, and so it was, and Tannefaus came in on some races, you know, is also performing. You know, we have Deegan in Finland, you know, he come completely mad, you know, so you have to try to stay away. You know, so, but we had some good characters, but the sport itself could have been incredible if you got all this in a very stable vision future with everyone. It could have been incredible, to be honest with you. So,
So there's some things I want to circle back to, but as we're talking about how the sport went, obviously there was that huge period of growth, as you say, all these big names coming in, the manufacturers, Volkswagen, Audi, Ford, and there was lots more talking, wasn't there, about the potential to come in. When this confusion over the electrification thing happened and ultimately the manufacturers left in 2018, were you already thinking then that you would be hoping to operate the team and not drive for it, or were you still at that stage very keen to continue driving in?
no, but I got very sick, you know.
Yes.
So my plan was not to drive. I shouldn't have driven the last year, you know. I was far too sick, to be honest with you. And but to find a driver to do what we wanted to do to win the team championship, it was the most important thing for me at that time, you know. And it was not a Volkswagen Motorsport team; it was a Peter Solberg Volkswagen team. So it was not like a fully manufacturers, to be honest with you. We had much lower budget than, for example, Ekstrom. Ekstrom had double the budget as we had that time. But at the end of the day, it's my plan was to get Johan and one more driver to do it and me to run the team basically. Because I was sick and then I had no chance to do it, so I had that for a few years. That's one of the reasons why I stopped. Also in general,
And what were your feelings around that electrification angle at that time? There was a big push from IMG as a promoter. The manufacturers were very keen as well. Peugeot, especially Bruno Famin, was desperate for it. Audi were on the fence, weren't they? VW would have gone had there been enough interest. How did you feel about that transition then?
We were the only team who has said yes that time, and nobody else came.
They needed 3, didn't they, to commit to the...
Yeah, nobody came. Nobody came. So, when you have to follow the sport in general, So if you have all the teams together, you have to find a solution with these teams to get the right thing, That's what happened in rallying now, It's not like FIA have decided, It's the teams together who have done it, who is in the sport already, to find the best solution. It's maybe not that every driver want or whatever, But if you find the teamwork with the teams who is there, what can be possible, you have to give and take a little bit. At least you get many more teams, like it looks like now for rallying, So I think you just have to work very closely together, and that's it, If you're strong as a team, all the teams have more vision and plan what they can do that time, but the promoter didn't have the same thing, So, because all the teams have done huge investment, for Hansen and Ekström and I mean, all of them. So it was a sad thing, to be honest with you. It could have been incredible.
What do you think of the plan for Rallycross, hopefully World RX, to share the WRC platform from 28 or whenever that transition happens?
Well, the thing is like I said for 2 years ago, before last year's season, if you don't have enough team and no cars and stuff, just put everybody together. Whatever it is. If it's unfair or whatever, but at least you can see 6 cars on the start line, good for TV. But now when we see 3 and 4, 1 retired and 2, 3, you don't have to do the heats. You can just start straight in final. So that's what I told her, get everybody in. Whatever it is, if you're not professional or professional, whatever, just get the action. You need a packed start line. You need the action into the first start corner. And you should never be afraid of competition. That after what I heard, that people was, we can't drive with them because they're different fuel or different technology or whatever. But if you're good, you're good. You take it as it is and put everybody together and make a sport. That didn't happen. So, I mean, it didn't. I was not super impressed when I watched it last year, when you see 3 cars. I mean, I said it all the time. If you need the good names, you need good competition. And if you win too easily, it's not enough competition. It's very simple. So you have to fight.
Is it no surprise to you that Johan has been so dominant in terms of results in the last few years, given that you worked with him for so closely in PSRX?
And Johan is good, Christopherson is good, Weibe is good, Bakker is good, you can put, Grönholm is good. You can put up all these names, good drivers, but when it's so few, cars, you can play the game in the heat. I take the second, but I will be in the final anyway, and so. But you need packed action all the time, So, you're good drivers, but yeah.
Yeah,
The Christopherson guy and YBA, they have good, for sure, very good cars. It's similar to before. It's the philosophy that has been there already. So they know all the shortcuts, they know all the details. So yeah, it is like it is. But you need some proper competition, not to win every race.
because the jeopardy was huge, wasn't it? 14 to 17, 18. If the grids were big and the competition was strong, if you had a puncture in one heat, just making the semi-finals was a big challenge, wasn't it?
Very. And this is what you want to have. And it's not easy. Okay, Johan was also very good that time, but it still didn't come easy. It was still, a lot of things, but he was good to go through it and plan it and stuff like that. So everybody put in a lot of effort from all the teams, So that was good times. It was really good times.
Your driving style was so unique in that period, wasn't it? I used to deliberately go onto the infield for free practice one of a new track to watch you, because you were wildly committed everywhere. At San Luis in Argentina 2014, I remember most clearly in my mind, because you were backwards off the track everywhere and then would rein it back in to find the lap time, and everyone else would be building up, and you were the rally driver, reading the road and all in straight away. I think that was quite refreshing at that period.
Yeah, but that's the thing, okay. Can't say backwards in, but it was straight out anyway, I had straight wheels all the time. This is the thing, the car was turning, easy progressive, good traction. Everything was there to do it, You can't drive like that if you don't have the car to do the job, basically. But I really enjoy when it was more gravel and you can, it was, I love it. And I remember the track you're talking about also is incredible. And that's what is nice when you have actually more gravel on the tracks, because then you can see, different driving styles and this is what it's all about also, if you put in too much tarmac all the time, it goes like rails, but you need some action and that you can pass somebody maybe on the outside or position it and take on the inside. But the Argentina track was really good.
Talking about one of those high grip tracks, one of the things I wanted to touch on was your accident in Riga in 2017 in the first corner in the Polo, where you broke your collarbone and a couple of ribs. That was a massive impact and also a ridiculous recovery. You were back in the car a few weeks later with a shield on in Estering. Just talk a little bit about that incident and that super short recovery period.
Yeah, that's where we found my sickness also, because I've been a little bit sick for a while before that. Couldn't find out, done all the tests and everything. But when they did the scan, my lungs was black. And that came just because of the collarbone,
Wow.
when they saw it. And it hurt, definitely. And then Boksu was the next race. So I had a doctor looking at it and say, no, you're gone for a long time. So of course it was not the answer I wanted. So I got another doctor. He said the same thing. Still not the answer I wanted. And then we have a Swedish doctor who is involved in Speedway. And he came and said, this is no problem, Petter, okay. Him we use. So he fixed, so I got the operation on a Tuesday. So Pernille had a motorhome outside the hospital in Stockholm. The race was that week in Bokstude, so I couldn't fly. So we took so after operation, went straight into the motorhome, was staying in the motorhome. Pernille was driving to Bokstude. And the thing is, you can do injections and do everything. But I didn't take anything at all. And I just took the tablet one tablet every 6 hours just to, the pain is the pain. And when I came down there, FIA wanted to see that I could get in and out of the car. So I did that. And then we made a carbon piece all around the collarbone, the head, so for the seat belt, so it didn't touch too much. And then, of course, you had the ribs. So it was hurting. I mean, completely mad. Because it was 3 days after operation, and then we did the pre-practice, and then it got ruts. And of course, when you hit the rut on the top right over the goal there, I broke one more rib, or broke up the ribs, so we taped all around the stomach and everything, the whole thing, to stiffen it up. And came from the heat straight into the motorhome with the laser, and oh, you have no idea. It was bad. And then, of course, it's ended up with the pole position. And of course, I had the extra behind me or from the start. So I came into the first corner, and of course, smart as he is, hit my back, of the car, and pulled me out. And then, of course, I came fourth or something, I think. And that was painful laps, to be honest with you. But the worst part was after the race, when I'm going to take the tape off. I took off the skin all around the whole body. And then, at the same time, I need to go to the doping control because of course, it was just, picked randomly. Exactly. I came in there, and I haven't taken anything except for that tablets every 6 hours. So, because nobody believed it was possible to do it. But it was, but I did it. This is the main thing. And the same thing again, motivation, and have the doctor that believes in you. Because Pernille asked him, so what is the worst that can happen? It breaks up again, with the 7 bolts, I still have it in. And it's stronger than ever, so. Yeah. So a lot of stories like that with different scenarios, but it's all about motivation and what you want to do. And end of the day, whatever young people is watching this or whatever, it's at the end of the day, it's all up to yourself what you want to do. So if your career is on hold or a stop or whatever, you have to find a solution, and just you can do it.
Brilliant words. Yeah. To talk about a young person before we wrap up, back to Oliver, I have this vivid memory of watching the video of him driving the DS3 around Julius for the first time. I think it was the right-hander before the jump, where he was so committed. In your what sort of day was that, putting your 15-year-old boy in your supercar for the first time?
Well, many of the races I didn't go to because we drove ourselves, But for the car control, yeah, very impressive. And I think it's coming a lot because of the cross kart, the quad biking, and have fun, And even that time, I said, because when he drove that year, the engine was actually broken. But I told him, you have to drive like this, because I will not put any money into this. You have to use your sponsor to do it. You can borrow the car, but if you can't get it to run, it will not be any driving. It's up to you. But the car is there. It's not perfect. And then they did it. I think it was lacking 50, 60 horsepower that year when I drove. But the engine was reliable. But when there was some crack in it inside, it's was like it is. But really good fun to watch, to play. And even that year, we learned something with the car that I should have done when I drove also. And it was a big performance gain also. But I should have done it much earlier, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So that's why every day is a learning with everything. And but for him to drive that, fast car, and that was the same time they made the Born to Drive cinema film. That should have been on Netflix, but Oliver said no. He wanted to have it on cinema, and he had the last word, so he went on cinema instead of Netflix. So, but
An Oliver memory and much more recent, and sadly not one I'm sure you'd enjoy talking about too much, was the Julius return. Julius being so close to your family home, you're down the road in Torsby. The Wolfertsons have got such a intrinsic relationship with farmland, and it must have been amazing for Oliver to drive that Hedstrom's Hyundai 2023 and win the European round, albeit briefly. How was that weekend from your point of view?
oh, incredible. We had 1 week, the car in 1 week in the workshop, so it was a big job to get it good, to be honest with you, because it was quite far away from what he liked to drive. So we did the same philosophy again, basically. And we did a mistake there with he won the race, beat the D1, fair and square. But the center guard was too heavy. Small detail, but rule is a rule. Because we have done different weight on the some cars, but everything happens so quickly. So losing the victory there was quite boring, but that's how it is. But he did a fantastic race anyway, even better than we expected. So, but it was a big job for 1 week with the car, to be honest with you.
Did you see anything in that Hyundai then that you would have maybe used had you known about it sooner with your Polo or DS3?
Not really. It was not, but we tried to copy a lot of the things over to the Hyundai in that time we had.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do everything, but we did the most, as much as we could. Still was more work with the dampers, and then engine was good.
It never stops, does it? The thinking.
No, but you have to. The thing is, you should never be happy. It's always things you can do and fine tune. And the thing is, it's coming so much to details. And if you do all these details, that many people, doesn't matter, but it does.
Petter, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us on Talking Loose, and wish you the very best of luck for Rally Sweden this weekend and for the rest of the year. Thank you so much.
I just want to say that if I offended anybody in the podcast, it was not the meaning. It just I hope I didn't, but it's a sport, and we everybody have stories, and we're fighting for victories, and then we get some rivalry with this, and it's the part of the game. So nice to talk to you, Hal, and I love your passion for motorsport, and I think you have big respect for many people in the sport, that you are doing everything you can to keep the value, and you have done a lot for all of us for what you do.
Thank you, Petter. Motorsport needs more personalities like Petter Solberg. How good were some of those stories? I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to Talking Loose wherever you get your podcasts. And if you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star review. It makes all the difference.